only if we really take issues seriously and with maturity. Let us be, if we only treat it with passion and not emotion. We can be passionate about things. We can be passionate about our relationships, but we don't have to be emotional about them. And most of the time, find that in these days, we are very emotional. In fact, we have now forgotten that our political emancipation that we have gained, the responsibility it imposes on us, we have forgotten that. What have you resorted to? We have resorted to, in some cases, self-vilification, and in some cases, unnecessarily vilifying other people, in calumniations, in things that are unimaginable. I believe that if our political emancipation has to be meaningful, if it has to really be something that we can be proud of, I think we should now all really embark on the mission of nation building. I mean, we should stop, as I said earlier on, pigeonholing ourselves into sects, pigeonholing ourselves into tribes, pigeonholing ourselves into sects, Tegar, Gewel, and all whatnot. That we must stop. And we have also to accept the realities. And the realities, if you accept, I believe that it will not be difficult for us to really embark on the economic emancipation that I think we should be our next agenda. And what are these realities? The realities are to accept that in any given situation, you have people who lead. And those people who lead have not been leading by accident. They have been leading by design. In our context, people who are leading today are leading by design of those who allow them to lead. They are not leading by accident. It was probably Yahya Jammeh who came and led us by accident. But the post-1st December elections is not anything that is accidental. It was by the design of the Gambian people, and let us accept that reality. And once we do that, I think we'll be able to forge ahead. And I hope we'll be able to take the Gambia to the shores that we want to take it to. But if not, we'll just be floating in midstream without really being able to really make it to the shore. I hope that will not happen. I thank you all.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Darboe. That was brilliant. But again, in a nutshell, Dr. Darboe, they want you to go and strengthen the sociology department at the, at the university. Definitely, something has been thrown at us in that we have the capacity in the diaspora, and this is our country to develop. So it is time for people, all hands on deck. If you know something, say something, do something. And those who have these ideas, please let them be actionable so that at least they can act on them. You know, I don't think Gambia has time for theories. We need to really come out of 22 years of a very, very deep hole that was dug, and we all know how deep it is. So I'm going to have Mrs. Yasofi Sisi, the one and only, to coordinate the Q&As. Now, this is your opportunity to ask questions. Mr. Darboe has really said a lot of things here, including that our democratic space has now opened up. So this is your chance. We didn't have this chance for 22 years. Here it is. So you have your questions, please ask them. And then the questions will be answered. Auntie Sophie. And Joru, thanks for telling us how old Mr. Darboe is.
by extension,
how old he is.
Teacher, you didn't hear that statement.
I didn't that.
Thank you, the Honourable Minister, for those comments. And I will echo what Pasanta said. Challenge been thrown. And I think Gambians in the diaspora are equal to the task, and that they will respond in a manner that will result in seeing those institutions that we need to build up and indeed built up, as the benefit accrues to all Gambians. I will take questions, but before I take anybody's question, I'll ask my own. Yes. I have several, but I'll just ask one. And that one has to do with a statement that you made regarding proposals that you have been receiving. Proposals that, if I interpret your how you feel about those proposals, is that they amount to nothing, and therefore we're going to China and some other countries to come and help us rebuild Gambia's institutions. My question to you is, were those proposals in response to solicitations from the Gambia government? Were those unsolicited proposals? And if they are not unsolicited proposals and they are in response to request for proposal from the Gambia government, was it based on a need that the Gambia government has identified and therefore has invited proposals?
Let me first say that the proposals I mentioned and mentioned China were not proposals in relation to establishing institutions or improving the standards of the institutions, but rather in relation to the energy issue. That is why I said we went to China. And I didn't say that we did not find the proposals useful, is that those who make the proposals never follow the them. Because if you make a proposal on solar, supply of solar energy, we expect really to come and follow it up. We don't just expect to come and throw the proposals at all, and then they go away. These are business investment proposals. So we expect those people making the proposal come up and make up the phone up. And this is what I'm saying, that they have not come back. And just where the joke that they end up saying, can I have a photograph with a picture with the minister or Mr. President? So those proposals were being brought mainly with the purpose of acquiring a photo opportunity. Those who come with serious business proposals, follow them up with the government. And this, I'm saying, has not been implemented. I have about 50, but none of them have come up. And I said, look, in the energy sector, we have to go to places like China so that we can address our energy needs. We have to make arrangements with Senegal so that we can have the border villages, Basse, Sabi, Veligara, and all those places, so they can have the electricity supply from Senegal. If those people who come up with this proposal really are serious, we expect them to follow to have a follow-up, but not just to come and tell us that we can provide 45 megawatts of solar energy, and then you go away. You don't think those are serious. Not not that we don't find anything useful in proposal. They are useful, that's why we keep them, but there has not been any follow-up, and we expect them to make a follow-up.
Okay. My job is in dealing with proposals, responding to proposals, negotiating deals, and things of that nature. So when you said you received proposals, and I'm going to challenge you, because for 22 years we fought, and we're very passionate about building Gambia because we know it's doable, and we want to take part in that rebuilding. And if I may challenge that, not you personally, but all of Gambia, who see some value in any of those proposals, to reach out to those who submitted those proposals and engage. Because at the end of the day, if that's a viable proposal and they have something to back it up, it benefits us all. So if I may just ask that that be done.
Well, I think that's a suggestion, but really, a businessman, I come out to you with my proposals, and I think they are viable, they are bankable. I leave it with you, and if I'm really serious, I'll come back to you. Look, I have submitted my proposals to you. What do you say? Especially when you tell you that, look, these are really good proposals, visible, this is what we want. They are directed to the appropriate ministry. When for investment, go to GAIPA. They will analyze your investment proposals. Go to NAVEC. They will also analyze it from a technical point of view. Yeah? And then it should never come back. For me, that's an indication that you just put in a proposal, but you are really not interested in it. Because you, as an investor, we would expect you to come and follow up on your proposal, on your business proposal. That's what we would expect. And I know that people who are interested in certain areas of economic activity in the Gambia have made proposals and they have followed them. In fact, day in, day out, they follow up on them because they want to make sure that their proposals are implemented. They want to make sure that the business proposals they make, the investment proposals they make, are acted upon by government, that government accepts them. Yeah.
Thank you. We have a question. I'll hold it.
So you hold?
Yes.
We'll have to stand. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you.
State your name and
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for putting this together, and Mr. Darboe for being here. My name is Sambo Balde, originally from what used to be Makati Island Division. I'm sure it's called now CRR or something like that. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. It happened that I'm here for a conference, and I was told that you'll be here, and so I decided to come and have a chat with you and everybody else. I'm also an elected official at the City of Madison. I'm the Vice President of the City Council. We met briefly in New York when I came to see the President. We didn't get a chance to chat. But just to this event, I think to what the young lady was saying, I think there are different processes. I think what you are driving at is what they call request for information. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you get. Then respond to proposal, RFPs, is when the government put out a proposal or any agency put out a proposal, people respond to that. So they go through that and say, we are giving this person the contract to go and do the work. In my opinion, what I'm thinking is that there may have been a request for information and people just responded, or that people like myself just send you something and say, this is what we are working on, will you be interested, or something like that. But the process here is that something will be out there for people to respond to, and when they respond to it, you choose one person who is qualified. If nobody is qualified, then you dismiss everybody and send the RFP out again. So, like you've threw out a lot of things, a lot of challenges to us, and I believe that we should be able to live up to those challenges from institutional reform to judicial reform to educational reform. So I also own a small business, a technology business. So I'm a software engineer by training, happen to be a politician. I also own restaurants and coffee shops in the city of Madison. So since after I met the president in New York, I have been reaching out to your embassy in DC and others to see how can I get the core of what you're looking for. I have a team of people who are engineers. Actually, I've also shared some legal mind, people who were part of Barack Obama's district attorneys, the people that were dismissed by Donald Trump, and sent them to your government to see if they can help with your reform process and things like that. But like I said, I have a team of technologists, people who are engineers. I also have people who work in city government, local government, and also state government who can really have good ideas. And we are working on some of these documents that we want to present to you. But what I'm challenged with is the process. You know, I'm sitting here, I want to talk to somebody in Gambia. What is your priority? Where do I go to do that? That is what I struggle with. So if I get to talk to one person, or if I meet somebody here, I call them the next time 100 times, and it's difficult to get answers. These are key things. If these are addressed, Gambians in the diaspora will also start feeling good about their government. How do we do that? I think it's the challenge. And I understand, you know, government is politics. People are very careful who they bring in and who they do not bring in. But I think the approach should be that, like you said, we have political liberation to a certain degree. But until when we have a process in place that can help us take the country forward, the same thing, and I think it was you who said change is not consistent. And that is true. We may have a government that changed today, but if you don't have the institutions to support, like we see in this United States, everybody here knows who Donald Trump is. The only reason he's not able to take us to World War III is because of the institution that we have. The only reason we are standing here and talking and not going back to Gambia is because of the institution that we have here. How do we build those? Sometimes you bring in people you do not trust. Sometimes you bring in people that you do not know. But have something in place. So basically, like I said, there is a lot of challenges. So my challenge, or my question to you is, what is the process? What is the process? What I understand to be the process is to contact your embassy, contact your protocol officers, but where do I do that? And what is the expectation from them? So if I send him an email tomorrow, when should I expect an answer? If I call him tomorrow, when do I expect him to return my call? So one thing I want to say after the question is that we have what we call sister city. When I was elected, the first thing I did, Madison has 8 sister cities, none of them in Africa. So I decided that we must have one sister city in Africa, and that happened to be, you know, I call everybody again, it's a democratic process, all the African in Madison. Gambian, because I was elected, we are very interested, so we have a sister city with Gambia. What that does, it has opened every city resources to Banjul, or Kanifing in this case, but Gambia as a matter of fact. You work in the government, in the county government, so you know how it works. So generally, I've asked that either we be able to, because we've worked with the sewer system, the recycling system, the electricity companies, and the institution, all the university system in Madison, or in Wisconsin is open to the government of the Gambia. How are you going to explore that? Do I have to try 100 more times to be able to get anybody be interested in this? I started Gainako, the newspaper, to make sure that I engage Gambian. When I realized that it's more about argument, calling people names, I choose not to do anything. Nobody will hear Gainako and hear Samba, right? You hear Dembo, you hear Yero, you hear the other people. Because I like to be successful in anything I undertake. But I also challenge your government, your Gambia government, to engage the diaspora. Right now, we cannot even be appointed to any government position. Tell me about it. Why is it that is not changed up till now? If you want us to be part of this process, then you must open every opportunity for every one of us. Thank you.
So, I mean, he had some commentary and some questions. In the interest of time, we can just stick to the questions. Perhaps later on, when we're mingling, we can engage in commentary and some recommendations.
That's right, yes. Well, it's appreciated. I think the question is, where do we direct our inquiries. I think that's the question, which I think I elicited out from your general comments. Of course, where do you direct your inquiries? I think it will depend on the subject. For instance, when you talk about sister cities, I think the Ministry of Local Government, which is responsible for local government administration in the Gambia, is the relevant and appropriate ministry that you will seek to direct your inquiries. If it's investment in fisheries, the fisheries department plus Gambia would be the appropriate institution. So I think it would depend, really, your inquiry for what the subject that it relates to. That will determine the appropriate authority, the relevant authority to which your inquiry should be, addressed. And I hope that since we are talking about institutional reforms, you work in local government administration in the United States here. Maybe you have some useful suggestions when you look at our local government act and make little inquiries about how they operate, how the KMC operates, how the Banjul City Council, the MID, now we call it Janjambure Area Council, how Janjambure Area Council operates. You should be probably be in a position to profile some suggestions as to how these institutions can also be modern local government institutions on the continent of Africa, based on your experience, on your knowledge of how these type of institutions operate. With Mr. Balde here, all of you, and I think you have Mr. Sisi also in Oklahoma. Yeah? So really, you could put together your experiences, your knowledge about local government operations, and then make the suggestion to the Minister for Local Government in the Gambia. In fact, the governance unit within the Minister for Local Government, so that they can try to see how they can blend these things. Of course, we have to take into account our peculiar circumstances. Things that American cannot just take them and transplant them, into Gambia, and they will never flourish. We just have to adapt. We just have to adapt them. And of course, appointments. We have been in office for about 10 months now, 10, 11 months now. And I think certainly some, at least there are maybe 1 or 2 appointments of Gambians in diaspora into the government service. I know that if I'm talking of ministers, there has not been any that has been appointed as ministers, but there have been Gambians that have been appointed, particularly in my ministry, in the foreign service. So I don't think it is quite correct that we have not gotten anybody from the diaspora, appointed, to positions in the current government.
Is that what the law is?
Pardon?
Is that what the law is? What is the law? I was referring to the law. The law says we cannot be appointed to the government. Is that correct or not correct?
We told the government what? Because when you say government, because that's why I say. That's why I say.
I was just asking if diasporan or people who hold citizenship outside of Gambia can work for the Gambia government.
But this is what I'm saying. That we have appointed people, who are Gambian diasporans. I know people I know that hold American passports. People I know that hold passports of other European countries. I mean, there's an ambassador appointed from the diaspora. There are other people in the diplomatic service appointed from the diaspora, and I know that these people are carriers of American passports. I know that. So, I mean, if you are talking about the executive, that is the cabinet, that might be a different thing. But to say that nothing to the government of the Gambia, I don't think that's correct.
Okay, I don't know that's what I have.
Well, but I'm saying that we have Gambian appointed as ambassador. I mean, Madam Jennifer Ba is a Gambian diaspora. She is ambassador to the Soviet Union, to Russia. We have others. I mean, Tukujalo, you all know Tukujalo. Yes, she is appointed to diplomatic service. So.
All right. Yes, I have a question. All right. Thank you.
You may start.
Okay. I need to start? Okay.
Please. I have to hold it, sir. I'm
It
sorry.
gets too...
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Why not go to your seat? You were there.
I prefer to stand here. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Darboe. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice. We appreciate it. Now, I understand this gentleman's confusion and desperation. What's it? Darboe? Samba, yeah.
I don't know if I'm confused. I had that.
No, I understand your desperation and frustration. That's what I meant. And coming to his concern, since you're the Minister of Foreign Affairs, it's very important. This situation is under your purview. You talk about engaging the diaspora. Now, you have embassies all around the country, okay? Now, there's an embassy right here in D.C. Most Gambians that are in the D.C. area or in the United States, if you ask them of their interaction with the embassy, most of them will tell you they have little or no interaction. Now, we need to rethink about this embassy's interaction with the Gambians, because in the past it has been a political bureau, and they've just been churning out visas. So what we need to do, you talk about engaging diaspora, we need to really rethink of how we can do what the embassies could do to engage the diaspora. It's very simple. You have an idea, you have a proposal. Before reaching to the Department of Lands in Gambia, we have a representative right here on 16th Street. Now, why is it a problem that you're not making a link with an office that is paid by the Gambian taxpayers and link them to do a job whereby they'll receive ideas, get all these proposals, engage in Gambians to whatever their requests are, get them to talk so that they can feel free to, basically engage. So I think my question again, Mr. Darboe, since you came to power, what are your efforts in really reinstitutionalizing or, affecting change in these embassies? And if I were to advise or just give an idea, I think we really need to talk about engaging these embassies, because the Gambians have to have return on the investments they make into all these embassies. We cannot have these embassies to be political bureaus. They have to produce. They have to produce something. We should be able to, count on them to deliver service. So that's my observation and my question. Thank you.
Just to take your seat, can you just let me know what sort of thing they should produce?
What sort of things they should produce?
Yes.
Okay. The things that they should produce is, like I mentioned about engaging. I mentioned about engaging Gambians, okay? This young gentleman has frustration, not only him, I'm talking about, we've been around. So I've engaged Gambians that, when they come up with things and say, why can't you go to your embassy? Oh man, those people, we can't engage them. They don't either know what they're doing, or they are too diplomatic or too official about. Anyway, they feel that They are not connected. So what I'm saying is we need to work towards that, connecting the embassies with the Gambians, I guess. Yeah, does that answer your question? In a way, you have an idea. Okay, right. Okay, sure.
I have an idea about what you're saying.
Right.
I think your statements leading to the questions is based on assumptions. In the first place, are you registered with the embassy? Have you made your presence in the United States?
Yes.
Made known to the embassy? How many Gambians have gone to the embassy to register with it, to register?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've been there.
Okay.
I've interacted with the embassy.
You have interacted with the
Whether
embassy?
you registered,
No, I'm saying I'm a registered as a Gambian who is in the United States of America, and you register with the embassy of the Gambia here, so that you will be on their records.
Okay.
So that you will be on their records.
Right. With all respect, over the past years. Okay, sorry, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Because really, how do I attend to any person's problem in Minnesota, a Gambian, whose presence I do not know of in Minnesota?
Whose responsibility is it?
But you have to know that you are in the United States before we can attend to any of your problems.
So if I may say to everybody here,
You have to know that.
the Honorable Minister is saying every Gambian, wherever they may be, should find their consulate, their embassy, and register.
Register.
What the gentleman is saying, that's the responsibility of the embassy of the Gambian to know that they should do that.
And again, if you can move this along, I'll allow the Honorable Minister to respond.
Yes, it is responsible of the embassy to have it registered. But if the embassy doesn't know you are here, how will the embassy register you? No, just tell me.
No,
you don't please. I don't know you are in the States here. How do I register you?
No, so I think what the guy is trying to say is that we should know as citizens of the Gambia that we should register with the embassy. If we don't know that, who should let us know?
Okay.
So I think that's what he's trying to say.
Okay. Now hold on. I think one basic thing that you have not done then is to read the note at the back of your passport. When you do that, you will know what to do when you go to any foreign country. You know what to do when you go to any foreign country.
Okay, we'll give him a second to say one thing.
Okay, just one thing.
Actually, we're going to go to Ben first.
And of course, let me.
Go ahead.
I think I've made that clear that you ought to register with the Gambian.
Yeah.
When I know that when Gambians who are holders of American passports,
Right.
when they step their foot in the Gambian,
That's what I wanted to tell.
they go to the Gambian. Why don't you go to the Gambian embassy here? Why do you expect the Gambian officers of the Gambian embassy to go after you when they don't know where you are? How do you expect that? It does not. I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible. So please. So let us I want to encourage every Gambian to register with the Gambian embassy. Because we're looking in the future towards Gambians being registered to vote. And that would provide a database of the Gambian population. Their concentration in the various states, and when it comes to registration, it becomes as a voter, it becomes much more easy for us to know who and who really have held themselves out to be Gambians and who want to benefit from the franchise that is going to be extended to the Gambian status. And I want to encourage you to do that. Now, what are we doing?
Oh, there you go.
From day one, I have stated that we are setting up a diaspora directorate in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In fact, GK partners, we will be working with them on that at think we are putting aside about $1 million for the operation and staffing of that directorate, so that it can be dealing with the problems of Gambians in diaspora, problems of Gambians in diaspora that have come to our knowledge. We cannot deal with problems of Gambians in diaspora that have not come to our knowledge. But we are setting up that institution. And indeed, when you talk about really also issues of you want to send or something to land surface, really, I'm not sure, whether because when we deal, we would really be dealing with Gambians in diaspora, particularly with their problems affecting them and the governments of this country or governments of other countries. But personal issues, like wanting a birth certificate, like really, forwarding, wanting to submit an application for land in the Department of Land, well, I think it will be really been asking too much of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and when I say Minister of Foreign Affairs, I mean the consular sections or the consulate or the embassy, to really be handling those matters. I think it will ask too much for us to do that. But I can assure that we are setting up a directorate for diasporans, and that is to take care of the problems of the Gambians in diaspora.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Ben. I'm a Senegalese, a member of the Senegambian community, and I'm here as an African. And I really appreciate what you guys doing, coming here and meet your, the community of the Gambia, and then explain and exchange is very important. That's why we're looking to it. And as an African, I just have a concern about some controversial that is going on in Libya, concerning African people, concerning Senegalese, Gambian, and all this. So as a Minister of Foreigners, what are your thoughts on this? And as a leader of Africa, and in this 21st century, those things shouldn't be happening. And what your stand on that situation? Thank you.
The situation in Libya is a little bit, how should I say it, strange. It's a little bit unique, because we know that Libya, it's difficult to talk of a government when you have factions, in control of what they consider their territories. But then what is happening in Libya is certainly a situation that no one, whether African or non-African, will really not found on. We do not expect an African country to be treating citizens of another country in the way it's allegedly been done in Libya. And I have myself, on behalf of the Gambian community, taken up these issues as foreign minister with the appropriate Libyan representative in the Gambia, and we working hard to ensure that the Gambians in Libya are adequately protected. Those who really want to come back home can come back home, and those who choose to stay are given the full protection of the law. That is what that's what we are doing, and I believe that should extend to everybody, whether African or non-African, as long as you live in Libya. If you want to stay there under the full protection of the law, and those who want to leave are allowed to live in that. It so happens that the situation that is currently prevails in Libya is really the doings of some really horrible people, some criminal gangs. And I do not think that these things are being done with authority and the sanction of the authorities, whether they are rival governments or not. You know, I do not think it's being done with their sanction and with their authority. These are just some criminals, catching an opportunity and then taking advantage of the situation and committing these horrendous crimes against humanity.
Thank you.
Well, about the issue with the registration that we're talking about, I think we have to reset. There's been a lot of mistrust. I would never have gone to the embassy to register. I didn't want them to know where I live. Because to me, yes, to me, I saw the embassy then as an extension of tyranny. So this was why a lot of Gambians decided to not even consider themselves. They don't even care about it. We only go there to protest. After that, we don't want to. So what I want to suggest, as a suggestion, as I was listening here, I was thinking maybe the embassy, since this is a new beginning now, and I told Mr. Ibumano, unfortunately he's not coming, that the day he came, if he were to come, that's the day I was going to go to register. I would do that. But what I also think we need to do, in the United States here, the GAA deals with the embassy, we invite them to events. Again, maybe it is important for the embassy to start working with these different government organizations in different cities to help sensitize the governments to understand that even if you've taken up US residency or whatever you call it, that you should be able to register. And I believe that will make your work easier. You can do it during ALD, you can do it during July 4th. You can even talk to the organizations to have a link of the embassy on their websites where you can go to the website, to the embassy website and register. That can be done. I think that would remedy the situation. But I did not register, and I know Yaya did not register because he didn't want to have anything to do with the embassy in order to go there and chat. And this was where we go to show our anger. They were not friends of most Gambians who were in the struggle, unfortunately.
I appreciate that. I know that a lot of them did not register because they thought that registering with them would really tell Yaya Jammeh where Pastor Bajau is, and then he can get his men to kidnap you. So that was it. In fact, my thinking is that in the major cities, Atlanta, Seattle, Texas, New York, and so forth, we have large concentration. We're not only going to open or make the embassy in Washington service available to them, but I'm thinking of appointing honorary consul in these cities so that they could deal with consular issues, they could deal with consular matters. This is one of the things that the Directorate of the Diaspora Affairs will really be looking to. In fact, we're thinking that we should really go ahead and do that, not only for the United States, but also for UK, places like Manchester, Birmingham, all out in Scotland, in Germany. We want to have the presence of the Minister of Foreign Affairs felt in these major cities by way of appointing honorary consuls, and very soon, I believe in the new year, we'll do so. And of course, we want to deviate from what used to happen in the past, appointing, say, a wealthy businessman in Texas as a Gambian honorary consul. We want to deviate from that. We want to look at a reputable, credible, respectable Gambian in Texas whom we can appoint as honorary consul, so that he would know the nuances, of our Gambian society, and can deal with our Gambians, interact with them, without anyone feeling that you've been looked down on low. So because some of these honorary consuls in the past, they use the position, get a diplomatic passport, Gambian diplomatic passport, enjoy all the diplomatic privileges, and yet they do not attend to the problems and concerns of the Gambian people. That, I think, must stop.
Hello, good evening. My name is Amadou Diallo. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Minister. I'm just following up about, investment in the Gambia concerning the diaspora. And you already stated about, especially the energy sector for the electricity in the country, that you all get almost like 50 proposals, and most of the proposals, some of them has never been followed up. And personally, with frustration to even what Mr. Banley's concern is, I had a proposal that I submitted to the Gambian government. And it's a very serious proposal. And it was like since April, I submitted all these proposals to the Vice President personally, to the President. And right now, all the information I'm getting in the Gambia, there was an MOU signed with a Chinese firm. And right now, I already submitted also some of the documents to the Minister of Trade, to the Minister of Energy. And my partners here, the concern they were asking is about, they want to get a response from the government to respond to this proposal, but still now I couldn't get anything, and it's just like a very big, frustration, and it doesn't even end there. I have also some other proposals that we already put in. It includes, like a solar company here, based in the United States. They're trying to trap the market in West Africa, and they're trying to build a plant in West Africa, and we already submitted this also to the Minister of Energy. We never get any response, from none of the institutions back home, and it's very frustrating. And right now, this is like, my concern about, where are we gonna go and find all this information to respond from all these proposals?
Okay. So they're looking for who will respond. To whom do you go to get the responses to your proposals?
Well, Mr. Diallo, I think on this side I've spoken about this, and I had told you that, look, when an American corporation wants to invest in Saudi Arabia, they just, all their chief executive, they bought their executive jets and go to Saudi Arabia and discuss with them, because they believe in the viability of their investment in Saudi Arabia. If these people are interested in investing in solar in the Gambia, they believe that their investment is bankable, they believe that it's viable, they should come to the Gambia. Really, I think because these are business people, they are not just coming to give us aid, they're coming to really put in their money to get profit out of it. So, speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the Minister of Trade here, but speaking for myself, Gambia being a sovereign country, I want it to be treated like how the American corporations, because how they treat South Africa, how they treat Saudi Arabia. I don't want anybody to take advantage of our peculiar situation, of our abject poverty, and say, look, you have, as if you have to come running after us. Let them come and invest if they really believe that they want to invest in the Gambia. If they are convinced of the conduciveness, and when I say conduciveness, I mean the business climate. If they are convinced about that, let them come and invest. Other countries are doing it. I've told about them and the Italians who came, had discussion in my office. I sent them over to the Minister of Trade. I sent them over to the Minister of Agriculture. They left, and 2 weeks later they came with $5 million. I consider those people as serious investors. Others also who want to invest in the tourism sector. They came, I had discussions with them, and they asked me to recommend their lawyer. I recommended their lawyer. They started with the lawyer to incorporate their local company, and in the meantime, the other one left. And having visited Guy Patrol and everything they required, and what the initial capital they want to invest, the other one left, went to arrange for the financing, brought it. They are now operating. Those I consider these people as serious investors. They've come there. They've seen this country, assessed it, took decision, and then they're prepared to put in their money. And I think this is what others should also do. And again, let me tell you, when I mentioned about the photo opportunity, I have seen people who have used that to go, and invitations also that the government of the Gambia has sent them. I've seen people who have used that to go and get money from other people on the pretense they're going to be invested in the Gambia, yet they don't come. So that is why I now refuse to take pictures with everybody. I assess you, and I have made it a policy that I don't give you any, and I don't give any letters. Do you want to invest in the country? You are convinced that, come. But it cannot be on a letter. So don't be frustrated by a non-response from us. You should be convinced. If you are convinced, they will go. I have absolutely no doubt that they will go.
Just to follow up on that investment question with a comment, and the comment has to do, well, actually, recently we have seen news reporting on the lack of transparency which resulted in a minister being relieved of their duties. So I want to understand what the investment climate is in terms of how transparent really is it. But to also follow that up with, there are unequal players in this area. I work in an environment where when you are not an equal player, we have some set-asides. And those set-asides will make sure that those who are interested and have the means are encouraged and supported to come in and participate. Do we have anything like that in the Gambia? There is no way that me, as a business owner, can compete with China. But I have something, I have a service, I have a product. I may not have multi-million dollars, but I may have a few million that will get me started. So I want to know whether that is something that is available to those who have submitted proposals, who are interested, who are committed to participating.
Well, let me tell you that China, I do not have any Chinese businesses that are invested in the Gambia. In fact, what is being done with China is really securing soft loans to address our energy needs. Maybe if you can provide soft loans for us, I think we'll be too happy to take it from a Gambian than from a Chinese. But then you opened up your statement by saying that the newspaper report. I think Gambians have just realized, I think this came in with the advent of the adjournment. I've never thought that Gambians can be so malicious. I've never thought that Gambians can be so mischievous. Just sit up, concoct stories on your own, and publish them, and give them some credence. I mean, I could never have imagined that anybody would do that. I want to say that the Barrow administration operates in a very transparent manner. When you have at least, when it comes to investment, you have at least 4 institutions. Each of them will examine. You have the two different presidential advisors on investment. You have the GAIPA, you have the Minister of Trade and Investment. And I do not think that one can penetrate all of these mechanisms through bribes and corruption. I do not think so. But I just want to say that those terrible allegations against Mr. Maifati are malicious, they are mischievous, and there is no iota of truth in them. I mean, these are people who are just bent on tarnishing not Maifati, but the administration of President Adama Barrow. Because if a minister is found wanting, any minister is found wanting, it is the Barrow administration that is found wanting. So I think it is geared towards that. And I want to appeal to us Gambians to really be honest to ourselves, not to be spiteful of people to the extent that you can go up and make up stories against them.
Thank you for that clarification. The Honorable Jennifer has a question. In the interest of time, one thing that we we would like to see happen more often is communication from the regime. Because I think more communication would ameliorate a lot of the nonsense, the maliciousness, the lies, the falsehoods. So I'm sure you're doing it. Do it more. That's just what I would ask that happens. General.
It's just a quick comment.
Just a minute because we are out of time.
Okay.
It's
just a quick comment for the embassy here. I don't know if there's a Facebook page because with a lot of Facebookers. Like the American embassy in the Gambia right now, through Facebook, we do hear a lot of communication going on. So maybe if there's a Facebook page that they launch and share this information and also how to register, that would be great. Because like Coach was saying, I think reset is a great word to really help us. And I think most Gambian citizens going to the Gambia to register is for safety reasons, right? But most of the time when you come to America looking for land of freedom, normally safety is not one thing you are much worried about. So we may not have that at the back of our mind to register. Quite frankly, I didn't even know that you can register. So that's a great information for me, and I hope on Facebook a lot of people hear that. But a Facebook page would be very helpful for us. Thank you.
I think incorrect. I'm listening here as a government person. In my field, in the last 30, 40 years in government exists for people. I'm hearing the needs of communities. One thing I can tell you, which some of us are committed to do, when you have your new ambassador coming, and or the present ones in here, we could select 5, 6, 7 Gambians in this area. We could actually volunteer to sit with the embassy to see some ideas how we too could contribute. These are all beautiful ideas. The idea is moving forward, not to point fingers or to go back to the past. It's going forward. So yes, I can promise this, and I know Pasamba Jao, I know Sophie, I know Ousainou, I know Martin and Jenaba and a lot of other Gambians. Yes, we can do that. We can go to the Gambia, come up with a list of 5, 10 different things that we too can commit to as Gambians, so that we can continue to improve our relationships with the embassy staff, but at the same time, really help and also contribute ourselves. It's a two-way street, so we can promise to do that. So in closing, I would again pass Samba Jao, say thank you to you and Sophie for helping us lead this process.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming, thank the minister and his staff for according us this opportunity. And I know people want to ask questions. You were supposed to start at 3. And now we've really extended the time, so it's up to Joru. I think we extended more than what was allowed or agreed. So I just want to thank the minister for this opportunity. And hey, this is our country, and you have. I want to be here and give a testimony that I find people open. Mr. Darboe, I blow up his phone so many times. When I have issues, I will call him. Sometimes if I miss him, he would call me back. And I would explain my frustration sometimes. I criticize, I offer ideas, I exchange ideas. And that's all we can do. So, but hey, thank you so very much everybody for coming. And
let's thank Honorable Minister. We know you're tired, your schedule is tight, but we appreciate you being in here. Hamba and the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Ba. We thank you. We started with a prayer. We also need to turn our attention and say thank you to Allah for being with the country through the struggles and to where we are. We started with a prayer, and I would suggest we all stand and silently say the Fatiha and pray for the others who need the blessing. Let's pray for other prayers. Let's also pray for our leaders, President Barrow, Honorable Minister, and other folks that we really need to help lead this country to greater prosperity. So you could pray in your own spiritual way and just bow your heads. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Step up.